What's up guys, Starnes here with Droid Modder X. Geekvine was nice enough to send me the Leagoo Elite 1. We're going to take a quick look at this phone. We'll take it out of the box, give it a quick review. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so real quickly we'll go ahead and take the Leagoo Elite 1 out of the box. There is the cell phone. Okay, so we'll kind of set that to the side. And you've got some reading material here. The phone comes with a free screen protector, which is a nice touch. It comes with even more reading material. It comes with a micro USB to full-size USB port adapter. It comes with a micro USB cable. We've got an international power brick. It looks like the output is 5 volts at 1 amp. Last up are the included headphones. Kind of a cheap set of headphones, nothing really to write home about, but it's cool that they actually included those. Okay guys, while this powers up, we'll go ahead and talk about specs. The phone has a metal build with the CD case back. It has a 13 megapixel rear shooter, 8 megapixel front shooter. It does include a fingerprint scanner with sensor 2.0 technology. It comes with Android 5.0. It comes with a micro SD card slot. It comes with 32 gigabytes of storage, 3 gigabytes of RAM. It includes a MediaTek 8-core processor clocked at 1300 megahertz. The screen here is a 5-inch 1080p display, and the battery is 2,400 milliamp hours. First up, we'll talk about the design of the phone. It's surrounded by this metal band, so this gold metal band looks really nice all the way around. So for a $180 phone, that's a really nice feature. So having metal on the phone, the Gorilla Glass 3 front gives it that premium feel on the front, and then on the back it has what they're calling a CD grain back, and it just, you guys can see it just kind of shimmers, but it's still a plastic back. Still though, it's nice and light in the hand. It doesn't feel super cheap for having that plastic back. You'll find the volume rocker right on top of the power button. Right there on the right side. On the top, you'll find a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. On the left side, you'll find the micro SD card slot. That also is where you'll put your SIM card. And then on the bottom, you'll find a dual speaker grill. You'll also find that micro USB port. So one other addition to the right side below the power button, all the way down here at the bottom, is the custom smart button. So this button can be used to take pictures, to play music. It can be set up to do all sorts of different things. Continuing with our tour of the phone, you've got the 13 megapixel camera and LED flash on the back there. And then on the front, you have an 8 megapixel camera, your sensors here, and your speaker for your in-call speaker. You do have your home button, which doubles as a fingerprint scanner. You have a slightly, very dimly backlit menu button, and also a dimly lit back button to the right side of the home button. So next up, we'll talk about the display. This is a 5-inch IPS LCD display, and it's 1080p. So you're not gonna get those super high-res videos that you'll get from your Note 5 or your Nexus 6P with a Quad HD display. But even so, the 1080p on this smaller screen actually looks really crisp and clean. I have it at its brightest setting, and as you guys can see, it gets plenty bright. Most IPS displays are normally a little bit dimmer than AMOLED, but this particular display is right on up there in terms of brightness, so it gets super bright for what it is. As you guys can see, viewing angles are not exactly the best. You pretty much have to be looking at it dead on, or you kind of lose a lot of that clarity and brightness, but for the most part, you're probably going to be looking dead on to this display anyhow. Yeah, and as far as clarity goes with this display, it seems nice and crisp and clear for a 1080p display. I really have no complaints with this display. All right guys, talking about performance, the device is rocking 3 gigabytes of RAM. It's got that MediaTek 8-core processor that's clocked at 1300 megahertz. When it comes to moving from screen to screen, this phone really seems to fly. It doesn't really have any hiccups or lag, even in pulling down your settings and opening up various applications. Sometimes it does tend to lag and stutter just ever so slightly, even when just doing simple things like scrolling through the App Store or scrolling through your browser. Okay, the phone seems to do a pretty good job at rendering graphics. This is Temple Run 2. It's not the most intensive game when it comes to graphics, but just opening up the game, you can see it stuttered just a little bit just in even loading the game. Yeah, so playing these low intensity games like this, you're not going to notice a ton of lag. It's when you try to play the more graphic intense games where you really notice the lag, and it's not really a deal breaker for a budget device like this. This is only $180 device, so you know, stutters and lag here and there is not really going to be a deal breaker. All right guys, next up we'll look at the camera. Kind of struggles to focus, and the shutter speed is incredibly slow. As you guys can see, it takes forever to take a picture. With shutter speeds that are that slow, that's going to make for a ton of image blur. So if I kind of move the camera, you guys can see just how awful and blurry the shots can be. Okay, if you look at some shots that I took when standing still, when you zoom in, you guys can see there's really not a ton of detail. This is in really good lighting, and there's just kind of a lack of detail, especially when you zoom in. You can see that it gets really grainy and blurry. That's with just about perfect lighting. All right, and here is more of a low light shot. In low light situations, it gets really grainy and you lose pretty much all detail. Things get super fuzzy. So not a very good low light camera at all. The camera is usable in good lighting conditions. Like that shot right there actually looks pretty good. Pretty crisp and clean when you have really good lighting conditions. Okay, here is the front facing camera. It actually seems to take quicker pictures than the rear facing camera, and the shots here seem to be usable. Okay, here it focused on my face, and if you're not zooming in, the picture actually looks decent. As soon as you zoom in, you lose all clarity and all detail. So the cameras are really nothing to write home about, but once again, it is a budget device. Okay, so I was going to kind of demonstrate the fingerprint scanner for you guys, but this happened. It's asking me to enter a passcode, and I never set one up. This is brand new out of the box. So that's kind of odd that it is asking for a password, and I never set one up, so I'm unable to even use the fingerprint scanner. Now I'm sure if I wipe data on this phone, maybe I'd be able to use it, but it's kind of disappointing that I'm just not able to use it out of the box. So I'm not really sure why there is a password on this phone that I don't have access to, since I'm not the one that set it up. That's kind of a bummer. Not able to show you guys the fingerprint scanner on this phone. Next up, we'll talk about the software. This is not stock Android. We'll go to settings, about phone, and you guys can see that we're running Android 5.1, but we're also running the skin version, the Leagoo OS 1.1.1. As you guys can see, it's kind of iOS-y in the fact that it doesn't have an app drawer, but one thing that I did like is that it doesn't have a ton of bloatware, so I'm not getting the pop-ups and the malware-like apps on this device like I've seen on other devices, like a Lenovo device that I had that had tons and tons of bloatware. The only extra things that we have here, we have a theme application, which is really cool because you can actually add a custom look. I actually like the theme application. You have a backup and restore application. You have the sound recorder, Leagoo, Xander. You've got the Hot Knot and a sim toolkit, and then that's pretty much it. As you guys can see, for the most part, it remains a stock feel. It just has the ability to theme, and there is no app drawer. As far as the speed of the OS, it actually runs nice and quick. It doesn't feel super heavy or anything like that, and I really don't hate this Leagoo skin. Okay, as far as battery life is concerned, it has a small 2,400 milliamp hour battery. The octa-core processor in this phone is a slimmer processor, so it's not eating up tons and tons of battery. And also the screen is not eating up tons of battery. This should last you 13 hours with a couple hours of screen on time. All in all, the phone is a pretty decent phone for $180. It has a decent build, and the skin is not too bad. I'll be sure to include a link in the description of where you can grab this phone. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for more content like this in the future. You can find more of me at droidmoderx.com. Follow me on Twitter at droidmoderx. Thanks guys for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.